Hello everyone and welcome to Behavior Education. I am Lori Torini and I'm going to go over the steps with you to build a behavior. This particular behavior that I'm going to list approximations for is to allow medical touching. The prerequisites for this behavior are that the animal already knows targeting, shifting, stationing, positioning. That means placing their body in a specific position, and long duration hold behaviors. I'm going to specifically be talking about a snake in this instance. However, these same principles can be applied to other reptiles or any species. Shaping this behavior, once you have those other things already in place, and remember you have to have those other behaviors already in place as building blocks for this touch behavior. The approximations that you're going to go through are: number one, to target the snake out of their enclosure and onto a platform, a station, or some exam type of table. Next, you're going to teach the snake to position himself or herself rectilinearly. Then the handler is going to cue the snake to hold in position while a second person initiates touching. Start with very brief touching, working up to longer periods of touch, longer periods of contact with varying amounts of pressure. Once the snake is readily accepting touches of various duration and of varied pressure, then you can work up to other things like manual palpation, ultrasounds, radiographs, cleaning, injections, blood draws, or any related medical procedure or care procedure. If you're not actually doing these procedures to the snake, these things can all be simulated for training purposes. And make sure that you as the handler and the person doing the touching are communicating with each other. So once the snake is holding in position, the person doing the touching should say touch to let you know and the animal know, if they're a species that can hear, that they are about to go hands-on and that there's going to be some tactile contact. Next, you as the handler are going to repeat the word touch. This way you and the person doing the touching are communicating with each other, and there's no surprise to either of you or no surprise to the animal when the touching is going to occur. Now, there's going to be variations to this procedure based on the species you're working with and based on the individual that you're working with. So you have to consider proper arrangement of the environment before you even get started. And you're going to want to base that proper arrangement on the animal's natural history, their natural biology, and the individual animal's history, their medical history, and their learning history with people. Based on each individual, you're then going to conduct the training and the procedure via either free contact, semi-protected contact, or protected contact, whichever is appropriate for the handler and the person touching and for that animal. You're going to need to ask yourself if more than two people are going to be needed to effectively conduct the care. So normally you're going to have two people, a handler / trainer, and then the person doing the procedure. It might be another keeper, it might be a veterinarian or a veterinary assistant or technician. But if you're going to need more than two people for the procedure, you need to make sure that all of the people that are going to conduct the procedure are involved in the training. And then based on the species' natural history, individual history, and natural biology, what type of surface is going to be best for you to ask that snake to pause on when you're doing the training and the procedure? And does a rectilinear position work best for that animal, or should the snake perhaps station a portion of its body around a perch or on a branch, in water, in deep substrate, or inside something else, or in some other manner? Consider what type of reinforcement you're going to use and how you're going to manage and deliver that reinforcement. Make sure to deliver the reinforcement following the procedure and not during. So it should be that the animal stations in the appropriate manner. In other words, their body position is how you want them. They're on the surface that you need them to be on, and they're holding in position. Then the procedure is going to be done, and then you're going to deliver the reinforcement and allow the animal to break from position. Make sure that the snake is free from fear, anxiety, and distress for each piece of the behavior. So at each step in this process, at each approximation, you want to make sure that the snake is not fearful or exhibiting extreme stress or anxiety. Each approximation should be successfully completed by the snake about 80% of the time, with the animal being relatively comfortable and relaxed before you move on to the next approximation. Make sure that the snake maintains a neutral or positive association with what's happening, and avoid the snake developing any negative or bad associations that could interfere not only with this behavior in the future, but with other behaviors that you want to shape. Ask yourself, can more than one type of reinforcement be used to solidify a good experience to increase the chances of the snake allowing the procedure in the future? Or if food cannot be used as reinforcement for some reason, is there something else the animal finds reinforcing that you can use? Food is the most common reinforcer because it's a primary reinforcer. But other things may be reinforcing to the animal, like freedom to explore afterwards, some type of exercise, or some type of novelty, something that they can investigate afterwards. You may even use things like heat, light, anything that that individual finds reinforcing, pleasurable, or rewarding could potentially be used as reinforcement. If you would like to see demonstrations of this and similar behaviors being done, or if you would like more information on how to train these behaviors, you can watch a couple of YouTube videos that we did here at Behavior Education. One was for a Super Dwarf Sunday edition, and that was a special cooperative care edition that we did, and that was in December of 2020, and we went through the process of how we worked out the approximations to microchip our Super Dwarf reticulated python. And then in a subsequent episode in February of 2021, we actually did microchip the Super Dwarf reticulated python, and it's about a 15-minute video going through all of the approximations and showing video footage of how we accomplished that. You can also go to Fear Free Pets. It's fearfreepets.com. I'm certified through them, and they teach cooperative care behaviors specifically for use in veterinary practices and grooming facilities, and they certify trainers to teach these practices. And the touch behavior that I described is an example of a cooperative care behavior. You can also find similar information through Karen Pryor Academy. They have an online course called Better Veterinary Visits that I believe is open to anyone. And then any zoological or similar facility uses cooperative care behaviors all the time. And you can look up videos on YouTube, or you can go to the actual zoos and see keepers as they train these behaviors and demonstrate these behaviors during keeper talks. If you have questions for me, or if you would like me to help you develop a shaping plan or a training plan for one of your animals, please feel free to contact me at behavioureducationllc@gmail.com, at behavioureducation.org, at patreon.com/behavioureducation, or through Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. As always, thank you so much for your time. Please remember to always be kind and love your animals.